Hello to those watching the replay. You can fast forward about a minute or two as I get through introductions. Hello, Jazira, Antonia, Erica, Tara. Thank you. Been rocking the little top knot all week. Hello, hello, hello. It's late, you guys. It's like 9:30-ish. I'm gonna make this quick because I'm tired. I'm ready for bed. But I have been on Periscope for a little bit, so I want to kind of get that back in the schedule. So if you're new, welcome. My name is Kashaira. I'm a digital brand strategist and blogger. My blog, hey Marley, hey Katrina. My blog is thisishermovement.com. You can find new posts every week on business, branding, and lifestyle topics from myself and my dope team of writers. I am also the founder of the KSM Group, and that is the ksmgroup.com. It is a digital marketing and branding consultancy targeted towards entrepreneurs and freelancers, where I help you craft a brand of your dreams, essentially. So wanted to come on tonight and talk to you about my personal 7 secrets for rebranding your business. Rebranding is a huge topic that a lot of my readers ask about because more often than not, a lot of us get started, we have this idea, and we kind of just throw it out there, and we don't take the necessary steps that brand strategists like me tell you to actually take. So, and I've done that. We've all been there, right? We've all been there. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. You know, I've had to rebrand her movement from when I first started, the KSM group, all of that stuff. Rebranding is okay. You also have to rebrand sometimes just because of growth. Like, a rebrand doesn't always mean failure or mistakes or wrong direction. It could just mean, you know what, you're growing, you're on to bigger and better things, you've gotten a little bit more clarity. I know personally, as I've gotten older and I've started to learn more, I've gotten more clarity on who I want to work with and the kind of services I want to provide. I've gotten more clarity on my value, how much I should actually be charging, all of those things. So a rebrand can actually be a great thing. So my 7 tips for making that rebrand easy. Do me a favor before we get started. Share this out. Share this on Twitter. Share it on Facebook. Go ahead, press the little bald head Periscope dude. Invite your followers in here. And if you like what I'm saying, remember to tap the screen and give some hearts. Hey, Ro. See if anyone else came in that I know. Can't really see. Okay. Yes, Rome, you just better invite 790 people. Dang. I love that. All right, 7 secrets for rebranding. So number 1, and I'm looking to the right because I wrote this down on my laptop, which I just have right here. And this is my website. So y'all know that I'm talking about my own stuff. All right, so number 1. You're already in business, which means you already have a following. You already have existing customers, clients, people that already come to you. So when you're rebranding, you don't necessarily want to alienate them, but you do want to survey your existing customers and you want to understand how they view you. So just because your website says you do X and you write about Y, does your audience or does the people who read your blog, read your website, come buy from you, do they perceive you in that same way? So you just want to survey and see where you are currently. It's really hard to grow and change and develop if you don't know where you're starting from. So for example, more often than not, people that read my blog become clients of my business. So I do a reader survey every year and I ask very intentional questions around what are your goals? Why haven't you hit them just yet? More so because I'm trying to figure out their challenges. I ask them what's hindering you from hiring a consultant or a coach and things like that. So I ask those kind of questions because I want to dig. And more often than not, you know, if you just straight up ask somebody, what's your biggest challenge right now? They ain't gonna know. They can't tell you, right? So you have to be able to figure out how to read between those lines and ask better questions to facilitate better answers that will help guide you to where you want to be. So with the KSM group, I recognized that for me, as I began to rebrand, that I needed to, because I surveyed my current audience, I knew where I wanted to get to. It helped me figure out how to bridge that gap so I could better communicate the services that I offer and my value. So for example, people always thought that I was a graphic designer. People always thought that I did websites and logos, and though I do my own websites and my own graphics, that is not my business, girl. That is not it for me. I will outsource and give you somebody else. So I had to figure out, what is it that I'm saying or doing that's making people interpret my business as graphic design, right? So talking to my audience helped me to better understand where I was and where I wanted to go. Okay, and then also check in with former clients and customers and ask them about their experience working with you, because when you're rebranding, you may be able to use some of those words and that language in your new website copy. Hey Carmen, thanks for coming in and sharing. Number 2 is you want to outline your vision and your end goal. So in my 12-week brand academy called the Bombshell Brand Society, one of the first activities the ladies in my cohort did was write their mission and vision and business descriptions in that first week. And this was not personal mission, personal vision. This was their business mission and vision. So one thing that they kind of struggle with, but one thing that I made clear is like, your vision is where you want to go. What is that end goal? If you had a magic wand and you could wave it today and your business was like boom and skyrocketed, what kind of value are you hoping to have? What kind of impact are you hoping to have? Who are you hoping that you helped, and what does the end result for that client or customer look like after they've worked with you, after they've used your products? And I got my girls in the house from Bombshell Brand Society. So you have to identify that end goal so that you can actually work towards it, right? So you want to give yourself some kind of guideline, some kind of place of where am I actually going. This is one of the first activities I've also outlined in my business plan template. So I do sell a business plan template. I also sell a brand toolkit on my website. This is hermovement.com. And in both of those packages, one of the first things you have to do is create your vision. It's very important to know where you want to go, okay? Number 3, I recommend working with a branding expert. Even if you are a branding expert, I am a brand consultant and I still work with coaches. I still work with business coaches. I still work with brand coaches. I still work with graphic designers. Not because I don't know what I'm doing, but because I'm too close to this. I am so close to this. Like, Her Movement is my child. The KSM group and Hustle Her Way are like my Beyonce's twins. Like, these are all beings. These are a part of me and I love them. And sometimes when you're in love, ladies, you got them rose-colored glasses on and you don't like to see what's wrong. Or you see what's wrong too late. You don't want to do that with your business and your brand, okay? You want to just get an outside opinion. And I like outsourcing it and hiring people, and not, you don't have to break the bank either. I'm not saying you got to be in the 12-week program. I'm not saying you got to do the 90-day joint. I'm just saying you want to get an expert opinion. I know for me personally, I offer just a la carte calls. If you just want to talk to me for 60 minutes, 90 minutes, you can book that call at theksmgroup.com and let's talk through some stuff. But you need an unbiased outside opinion. And even sometimes your friends and accountability partners sometimes can be a biased opinion, especially your accountability partners, because they're going to give you really good, they're going to be really good to bounce ideas off of and work through. But after a while, you guys are going to get close and they're going to feel a part of that business too. So having that expert outside opinion helps you to see things a little bit more clearer. Not to mention, when you work with an expert in branding, they can tell you how to better communicate to your audience your value. That does not mean that, you've been doing it wrong, but they are going to help you identify loopholes and gaps that you've been missing and how you can essentially make more money. I know for me personally, that was something that, hey, I know when it comes to my clients, I can see every single thing you're missing. But for me, I'm so close to it, I need another person. I need a third party. Not to mention, as a service provider, how in the world am I going to want you guys to invest in me if I'm not investing in other people? So I make a conscientious effort to do that, support other small businesses, okay? All right, so moving on. The next step is number 4. We're on number 4 now. We're talking about 7 secrets to rebranding your business. Number 4 is create a mood board. Put a 1 in the comments if you know what a mood board is. Let me see who's hip to game. Who's already hip to game? And I know my Bombshell Brand Society girls are hip to game because they just did this activity last week. So a mood board is, think vision board, but not as complex. So a mood board is a small collection of images that represents your brand's essence and feel, your brand experience. What's it like to go on your site? What's it like to talk to you on the phone? What's it like to buy and use your product? What's it like to go in your store if you have one? So that's one piece of it. It's typically anywhere from 4 to 7 images, okay? Then it also has your logo and the variations of it. So for example, the Her Movement logo is actually a deep fuchsia and a black ombre color. But then I have a couple variations. I have one that's just a fuchsia color, one that's just black, and one that's just white. So I have all of those on the mood board, so I can always kind of pick and choose where I want to use certain ones depending on what kind of graphics I'm making. It also has the colors and the color codes of my brand colors. So I have a brand palette of about 4 to 5 colors, mostly different shades of pink and purple, but I have the exact hex codes of those. Why? Because it needs to be the same shade of pink and or purple on every graphic I make. It is digital. On every graphic I make, on all the pages of my website, on my email list, it got to be the same every single time, no matter what. When I work with the graphic designer to make the flyer for the Hustle Her Way Summit, Hustle Her Way has its own brand palette. I was able to give that graphic designer those exact color codes, so when I got that flyer back, it wasn't going to be an issue. And this is really important. If you're working with a web designer or some kind of brand strategist, they should work with you on making a mood board. If your web designer doesn't, make it yourself and give it to them. You run the risk of them just simply using a template-based site and kind of picking things for you. You need to ensure that whoever is building your site, if you're not doing it yourself, builds a site that represents your brand essence. Otherwise, it's a waste of money, okay? And then the last thing that your mood board contains is the fonts for your brand. Most people have between 2 and 3 fonts that they alternate between, and typically those fonts are intentional. Typically you have a header font, so like those big bold words on the site. You have a subtitle font, so underneath those big words in your website, and then you have a text font. So like that's the font you would use for your blog post, for your about page description, all of that stuff. So typically you have 3 fonts, and you want to use those same fonts on your site. There's nothing wrong if you have less. I'm not sure if I would recommend more. It's your prerogative, okay? So if this is helping you so far, how you doing? Put some hearts up on the screen. I'm not a model, sorry. I wish I was though, but I'm not a size 2, guys. So anyway, moving on to the next tip, which is develop your relaunch timeline. So this is really important. Your relaunch should not last forever, ever. It should not last forever, ever. You don't want to get lost in the sauce. You need to create a timeline. So figure out how long is it going to take you to launch. So the biggest part of the relaunch, honestly, is for most people what takes the most time is the website. So if you're working with somebody, make sure you get a timeline from them. Make sure you get that in writing, okay? Get that in writing if you're outsourcing this. If you're doing it yourself, put yourself on a timeline so that you kind of make sure that you're working, even if it's just 10 minutes a day on it, getting it done. And your timeline should not only include the time it's going to take to design the site, but also think about your launch sequences, right? Hi, Asia. Aw, hi. I stand for her, so that's why I get all like, you know. So you want to figure out how long is it going to take you to create the launch sequences for your newly developed products and services. So let's get this straight right here. Let's pause for the cause. Redesigning your website does not mean you're rebranding, okay? All right? If you're just changing the site around, you're changing the site around. But if it's going to be the same content, the same products and services, boo, that's not a rebrand. just get that straight. So you need to come up with something new, something innovative, and even if it's tweaking what you already had just to better suit your audience, whatever that is, you have to now relaunch those products and services. So come up with a launch sequence of how you're going to reintroduce this stuff to your audience. You don't want to just pop up one day like, hey girl, hey, new website, new products, new me, 2017. You don't want to do that. You want to be strategic about it. Just come up with that timeline. And thinking about too what kind of social networks are you going to use? Are you going to make it as an email launch? Is this going to be social? Is this going to be live stream, etc.? Come up with that launch sequence so you can stay on track. Second to last tip, so tip number 6, most important tip. Please don't go Casper on your audience. What does that mean? That means don't go ghost, don't disappear. And a lot of folks disappear during the rebrand. We don't see you for a cute 3, 4, 5, 6 months, and then you pop back up like welcome back base, and expect everybody to just be like same love, same everything. Here's the problem. Technology is moving really, really fast. Your audience's attention span is this big, okay? So if you disappear, they're going to replace you with somebody else. One big thing, and I just finished talking about this on Twitter and the Black Bloggers United chat, is you have got to be consistently present. If you're consistently present, consistently adding value, you will always be top of mind. You may not be the best, you may not be, the top expert, but your audience knows that you will always be there. They know that they can always rely on you. So even though you might take the site down, that's okay. Put up a landing page, or you're working on the back end, and keep engaging with them. While you have your site down, get on live stream a little bit more, or get on Twitter a little bit more, or create a Facebook group for your followers so you can still drop knowledge for them, or get an email list and communicate with them weekly, or do all of the above. But don't go Casper on your audience because you're trying to figure it out. That is huge. So all the times that I've had to redesign that Her Movement site or the KSM group, I still been here. That is why I have so many outlets. If I'm not writing, I'm scoping. If I'm not scoping, I'm podcasting. When I'm podcasting, I'm on YouTube. I'm still coming to you in some kind of way so that you know that I still care about you. I still care about your brand and your future, and I'm not leaving you. I'm getting better for you, but I'm telling you that, and I'm not disappearing. Okay? Don't disappear. That is the number one mistake people make. And I've been in the blogging game for going on 4 or 5 years now, and I've seen people with beautiful sites come and go within a couple months because they weren't consistent and they wanted to change direction, and then they change direction and come back, and we just appear like, who is you? Like, you, we don't know you. We don't know who you are. So don't disappear on your people. As a matter of fact, take them on the journey with you. People love people. People love knowing your tea in your business. They love following you on Snapchat, or following you on Instagram, or following you on Facebook, and knowing what's going on behind the scenes. So you get to pick and choose, of course, what you're showing, but take them with you. People that have been reading my blog from the beginning, like, we are like this. Like, we are virtual homegirls because they've been with me through a lot of growth and a lot of development, and at the same time, I've been with them. I was with them when they were scared to launch a business, and now look at them. They're full-on moguls. I've been there with them, and they've been there with me, so we're tight. All right, so if you're with me, ready for the last tip, because it's bedtime, put some hearts up on the screen. I am definitely about to get ready for bed as soon as I get up off of here. Absolutely, Katrina, they love authenticity. They love relatability. Like, they love that. Okay. The last one is the most time consuming, in my personal opinion. The last tip is to remove all traces of your previous brand. I did this. So my site did not have the Her Movement name, and it's forever. Like, that's not relatively new, but it's still new. It's maybe like only 1.5 years old. I've been using the term Her Movement forever, but it wasn't officially my brand name, and my site name and site colors were totally different 2 years ago, and I needed to let that go. So the reason why is you're not trying to flex and hide like you've always been the ish. It's not the case. You just don't want to confuse your audience. You want to present a consistent brand across across the board. So you want to go back through Instagram, you want to delete promos that aren't available anymore, you want to delete graphics that don't have your brand colors and brand names on there. I had stuff up that had my old website URL on it, had the old logo, the old name. You know, go back and delete some of that stuff. You know, Twitter is very hard to go through, but you don't have to necessarily delete all your tweets, but, you know, just audit your Twitter. Are there things out there that just don't align with the brand that you have now? And I mean, that doesn't, a lot of us are just getting older, so some of the things we were doing before, you know, we just don't, we look at it, kind of shake our heads like, what was I thinking? You know, audit that. Audit your Facebook. Yeah, your Facebook may be personal for friends and family, but some of that stuff your audience can still see. You know, they may choose to follow you, so you just want to clean that up and just ensure that there's nothing out there. Own your digital real estate. Own your digital presence. Like, take control of that and manage it effectively. So clean up all of that stuff and let it go. Okay, even your old blogs, and this is really, I know for some of us that blog a lot, this is going to be hard, but you have to at some point make it a once a year thing, twice a year thing. Go back through that old content and update it. Like, some of that stuff is outdated and irrelevant now, and you can still repurpose and reshare old content just because it's old. Like, I reshare old blogs on Twitter all the time, and they drive traffic to my site consistently. But how does it look for me to share an article where everything in there is so outdated that it's moot? You know, so going back and just kind of editing that. Like, if you're gonna have that stuff up, like, shift it. So that is why I have at least 30 blogs that aren't posted from like 3 years ago, because they just need to be updated. Or even more effective, even more transparently, my writing style has just gotten better. Welcome, Shannon. You know, my writing style has gotten better. The way I communicate has shifted. The way I explain things. You can. I would just make sure you add some content to it. Add a worksheet or something, some kind of upgrade. Just so I don't want people to think they could just get by just resharing old content as new content, but just make sure you're adding things to it. And at the same time, you know, when it comes to social media, you can still schedule using like Buffer or Hootsuite or whatever. Schedule that older content to just be shared. Like, your audience won't know that it's old until they open it, but even if it's still relevant and still good, they're still going to read it. You know, so just remember that. So that's today's scope, 7 secrets to successfully rebranding. You can actually read this on my blog. This is hermovement.com. Click blog. This was posted a couple days ago on the 31st, so you can go and actually read this and click on some of the hyperlinks I have in there that lead to other resources for you. The 28 Days of Branding Challenge kicked off yesterday, so if you signed up for it, you should have gotten your email with your first 5 days of lessons. So that's how I send it out. I send it out like at least 4 to 5 lessons at a time so that you can maximize your own time and get them done. It's not too late to sign up. The price has increased because, of course, it's after the fact, but you can still sign up and get access to those lessons. 28 Days of Branding. It's all about maximizing your social networks, getting exposure, getting PR, and of course creating an actual brand plan that will sustain you through the year. It's a lot of work, but it's worth it. So go to this website real quick, bit.ly/28 days of branding. So that's bit.ly/28 days of branding. With that, have a good night. It's Kashaya signing off. Talk to y'all soon. Bye.